Hello, hello everyone. Ajit, we are live today.
Yes.
And we'd like to welcome everyone back to
How are
HRTV.
you?
I'm going to say this with confidence, your favorite online talk show for all things HR. I hope it's not too late to wish Sama Hari Raya, right, Ajit? Because it is still the Raya festival, right? It's still I'm still very in festive mood.
Yes. Belum sebulan. Raya sebulan, Sherin.
So okay, not too late. So wishing all of you Selamat Hari Raya. Are you still berayaing or attending open houses, Ajit? I know I am until next
I
week.
am. I am attending back to back.
So nice. I love Malaysia because of our festivities, isn't it? It's like we all come together, we all get to makan-makan bersama. So nice. All right.
Okay.
Ajit.
Selamat Hari Raya for everyone else. Do tell us if you're still attending open houses. And we are back with episode 4. Thank you for joining us. We are excited with an interesting speaker today, and we are all so pumped up to with this topic. So hope that you're all excited as well.
Yay. I
Do
know
say
I
hi
am.
to us as from where you are, and also do share from where you are.
Yeah. Definitely, I am pumped up for today. And yeah, like Ajit said, let us know where you're from. And if you're new here, we'd like to welcome you to HRTV. Make sure you get comfortable, sit back, relax, because we have a very exciting discussion today, which I know a lot of people are looking forward to. My office is like, hey, we can't wait, we can't wait, we can't wait. I said, okay, okay. Yes, Gen Zs. I said, yes, Gen Zs. Okay. So that brings us to the topic for today, which is Gen Z at work bridging the gap. And this episode is definitely packed with so much actionable insights. You definitely don't want to miss. Even if you're having your lunch, make sure you're in front of the screen. Don't move. And I want to say hi to Siti Haniza and also Audrey, who says hi to Shireen and
Audrey,
Ajit.
hi.
Yeah. Well, more of you say hello. We want to see who's online.
But
As you
first, before we see who's tuned in for the first time, do let us know where you are dialing in from. I mean, where you are calling us from. And if again, we also want to know if you are in the Raya mood. Where are you still attending open houses and things like that? Do share with us, And before we move on, do allow us to share a little bit about the show to you guys. For those who are first time joining us today, we are known as hashtag HR Intervents, commonly known as hashtag HRTV. It's an online talk show presented by Compass Mind Asia, a renowned corporate training provider.
Yeah, thank you, Ajit. Wow, I see Ida. Hi, Ida. Can I stay? Even I am. You are most welcome, Ida. In fact, I miss you. Haven't seen you in ages. And I am Ida from Inspira, still in Raya Mood.
Ah,
Jangan
nice.
lupa pelawak ya. Shah also must be in Raya mood. Hi Shah. Hello Shereen Ajay. Semalam Hari Raya.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Oh, delay telecast. Delay. Selamat Hari Raya Shah. Kalau ada raya open house, jangan lupa pelawak because Ajit already got back to back. I pun kena back to back lah, tahu? Alright,
Can
anyway. Yalah, kena makan sate, ketupat, rendang. Mestilah.
betul.
Okay. Anyway, calling out to all HR and L&D managers, if you are looking for anything training related, do drop me a PM on LinkedIn, which is Shireen Kelly, or email us at training@compassmind.com. I think there's the clicker at the bottom, which you can link to later. Yeah. All
Okay,
right.
we have a hello from Harjit Kaur. Hello, Shireen. Hello, Harjit. Thank you for joining us. Okay, and in our previous episodes, we have engaged in discussions with HR experts covering wide range of topics related to HR and also career development. In the past, we have delved into fantastic topics such as managing workplace burnout, stress management, the future of work, the art of TNA, and among many, many other programs.
Yeah, and I just want to say, in case you missed any of these past episodes, which has amazing speakers from the industry and wonder where you can find them, yes, we have got all that covered for you because some companies have used that as their learning library. You can head over to my YouTube channel, which is Shireen Kede, to watch it later. Remember, I said later, not now, so don't go anywhere now. It's in the ticker below at the bottom. So go there later and check the previous episodes. And if you're wondering whether HRTV is for you, like Ida asked, right? I'm not a Gen Z, but you don't need to be. Yes, I assure you, this HRTV is for you. Although the topic today focuses on Gen Z, but this show is for everyone, including HR managers, directors, C suites, business owners, because we are all hiring. The Gen Z is flooding the market now, and even job seekers are the Gen Z. So trust me, you're in here for a treat today. All right. And let's say
Yes,
hi
yes.
to a few more people who joined. Adeline.
And
Yeah. Okay, Ajit, you go ahead first. Ajit.
yeah, we have Adeline also joining us saying hi, Shireen and Ajit. It's my first time here. Looking forward to join you guys more often. Yes, please, please. Then we have Ayu also saying hi. And I have one here. I cannot read the name Shireen. Big
Korean.
icons. Then
Korean.
we have got Korean.
Korean
Okay, we have
name. I don't
Nur
know.
Fatiha. She's Gen Z. Okay, I'm also Gen
Yay!
Z actually. I'm also Gen Z.
I'm gonna stare at you.
Don't give me the
And
look.
you all can answer, okay? He is a Gen Z.
Okay, we have Ishwari saying hello. Okay, thank you everyone. As usual, so let's make this session very interactive. Do drop us a hello, drop us an emoji, drop us a comment. We would love to know where you are tuning in from, and we also love to know what you're doing now. Maybe having a lunch, what you're eating, anything and anything at all. Please be interactive with us. By the way, my name is Ajit. My name is Koljit. Please do call me Ajit. I am HR practitioner who's been in practice for the past 25 over years. And with me I
And
have
I am Shireen Kelly, the Managing Director of Compass Mind Asia, and we'd like to welcome all of you Gen Zs and non-Gen Zs to HR Intervention Season 5. Season 5?
episode 4.
Episode 4.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Ida says Gen Z at heart, not counted. Ajit, Ida baru je nak ajak belanja makan, tak jadilah macam ni.
Itulah Ida tak apa.
Okay,
Dia cute sangat. So kita bagilah dia. Ida bagi chance lah dia belanja kita orang makan, okay?
kan. Okay, anyway, let's not wait any longer, Shireen. Over
Okay.
to you to introduce our guests.
Wow, so fast already, huh? We are going to get our guest in, which I'm so excited. Our speaker for today is someone you all are waiting for. He is the CEO of GRADUAN, has played a big role with initiatives of his own that have grown to be synonymous with the organization. With over 20 years of experience, that's a lot of experience, Nabil excels in driving growth and innovation, taking GRADUAN through its transformative journey in the digital and tech space. Isn't that amazing? So, guys, I like you all to give Nabil Marie a very warm welcome by giving claps and emojis, heart emojis. Ooh, like that,
Hi,
like that.
hi everyone.
Hi
Hello.
Thank
Nabil.
you, Shereen. Thank you, Ajit. Thank you, everyone online. I'm glad to be here. Happy to be here.
Welcome, Nabil. Thank you for joining us for our news session today. And it's a true honor to have you. You know, after so long, we were trying to get you on, and finally we have you with us. We are so excited to learn a lot from you today about your journey and your perspective. You know, before we dive into our topic today, maybe we want to get to know you a little bit more. Why don't you tell us
Yeah.
something about yourself and to the audience, something that they may not know or something that's interesting about yourself? Maybe a fun fact about yourself, or you may also start by in how you started to create Graduan probably.
Ah, that would
Uh,
be.
Fun fact that maybe the company has been in the market for a very long time. So there's been a lot of transformations in how who we are as a company. It started by my parents because they see that there were many graduates coming out and they were looking for jobs, but they don't know where to look for. This is before the digital era. So what my parents did is they visited companies that was looking for Gen Zs lah, the fresh graduates at that time. So maybe that time was the millennials probably looking for jobs, or Gen X looking for. So they published a magazine, and because they visited all the companies, those companies that are hiring fresh graduates, and they published the magazine interview of the companies, and have a listing of job, not jobs, both of the company profile, and distributed the magazines to all the universities in Malaysia and overseas. So that has been going on. So from that, people know used to know us. So different generations. Some generation know us as the magazine. The millennials are Gen X. Now the Gen Zs know us as the career fair organizer. It has transformed into uh, the business has transformed. But we don't do the magazines anymore. Everything has gone digital. That's where came in. So when I started working in the mid 2000s like that, then I say, oh, cannot publish book already lah. I have to go online already because I also noticed at that time, like when you ask a student, because they carry so many school books already, and even in the university, and like give them another book to carry also, they might not want to. My bag is already so heavy, so I rather check on my phone. That was the
Yeah.
beginning of how we digitize our business. Now everything we do is online, thankfully, and like something like this is along my line of what we do lah. So doing webinars and all that.
So
So
just
fun fact about me, yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
one before the fun fact, I'm just curious, how
yeah.
old were you when your parents started this company?
When they first started, I was 14,
Ah, okay. Teenager. All right.
but I sometimes help them out because we publish the magazines, right? So I have to go to the printer, look at the color separator, and then like sign off before we start printing. I mean, stay the all night. But now everything's so digital, so easy already. But I learned through that lah.
Mm, okay. Thank
So
you for that. Fun fact for you.
yeah, fun fact. Yeah, I love football. So my favorite team is Liverpool, and I always try to follow. And every time I go overseas, I try to catch a game.
Ooh, awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
Ajit, you
So
are in which football team? Ajit, which football team are you for? Is Ajit frozen?
Manchester. I cannot say it out
oh,
too loud.
Manchester. You're not doing
Yeah,
too
I
well
can't
right
say it
now.
too loud. Then me and Nabil will probably start fighting here now.
Yeah, that's why fight going to start. Okay, luckily I'm neutral. I follow my husband,
Yes.
which his name is Nabil. So we are
Okay.
alive. All right. Thanks so much for that, Nabil. That's an interesting fact about you. And it's so nice to know that you are the legacy of your parents, took over from your parents and continue
Yeah.
bring the company forward. Yeah. Well, we look forward to seeing what happens more and more generations down the road because you guys are doing great stuff, you know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, all right, to everyone joining us today, if you're wondering what we're talking about, it is something super real, which is the gap between what Gen Z wants at work and what companies expects. Of course, flexibility, purpose, work-life balance versus structures, loyalties, and long-term commitments are what we're going to talk about. It's a bit of a kind of a clash, right? But yeah, let's discuss that today. Plus, post-pandemic work culture has changed big time, and let's not forget how fresh graduates today work and think so differently from people. You know, they are in the information. They've got so much information just on their palms of their hands. So they think differently from those over 10 years ago. 10 years ago were like our generation now. You know, of course not Ajit because he's Gen Z. So so how do we bridge this gap? How can companies create environments that attract and retain young talents while also maintaining performance and alignment? Because a lot of changes, a lot of movement of people does create a lot of time to train, which and retrain, which actually takes time also. So without further ado, let's jump into the conversation with Nabil today. Are you guys all ready? If you all are ready, give us a thumbs up. So we know you all are ready. Ajit, are you ready? Nabil, you're ready. I know
Yes.
you are. So, Nabil, the first question. We often
Yeah.
hear that what Gen Z brings to the table is like very different from what companies expect, right? Can you break down for us how do their values, mindset, and also their work style differ from most companies to what most companies are actually used to?
Okay, for me to break down specifically, it's because in the older generation we work because we have to work. We have to put food on the table, and as the our parents' generation and everything, and then over time, more and more people become they have money, they can take care of their family. So like I just saw the other day, I saw a video on LinkedIn. A young Gen Z was saying, "Oh, don't blame us for being difficult or being spoiled, because you work hard to give us a better life. And now, once we have a better life, we have a different kind of expectations. So uh, we have uh, we have certain things that we don't work because we have to work, or not say that last. Everyone needs to work, but we can choose our jobs and the environment. Yeah, so that's where the values come in. I think our parents' time, like my parents' time, like they work because they really need to put food on the table. It's not about I it's not about, I feel like working from home. I'm not up for it today. I feel like working from home today. It doesn't, because in that time, if you don't come to work, maybe 1 2 chance after that, then you'll be in serious problem. But now, because everyone's a bit more comfortable and there's choices and people are more educated, and I think the key difference is choices. The key difference is choices, because I can also uh, be a Grab driver for a while
Mm,
looking for another job, be a freelancer for a while. I can take my skills outside. I could be sitting here and work for a company in Singapore also. So the options are limitless, and when the options become limitless, then it's a total different ballgame. That's why the companies right now has a hard time of understanding, because the options for the younger people are different. So if I want to talk about the values of young graduates or the Gen Zs now, so they want to do work that has meaning for them, or that is, yeah, do they believe in what the company is doing? And like, one great example is Teach for Malaysia, or companies that teach for Malaysia, because maybe you can study very hard and become a doctor or have a very high, coming out from the top universities, but then you want to be a teacher because that's what you believe in. You believe in giving back to society. There are many such examples, and if you go through the people in Teach for Malaysia, they're all like really excellent people. They could be working for the top companies, or in when you look at the academic results. but this is what they chose to be. They want to give back to society. So that's where the values and the mindset is slightly different, because if I become a teacher for 10 years, I can always still come back and apply for a job in Citibank because I have the criteria, I have all the credentials, I have the
Mm,
ACCAs and all that. So I do what makes me happy. I think that's the difference. If I say the values is what brings value to me or what makes me happy and what I want to give back to society,
yeah.
so that's why when there are options, people can do what they want. So that, if I were to break it down, it's a different generation, but we the previous generations, they have no other better choice, but now there's plenty of choices.
Agreed, agreed.
Mm,
I think that's very well said. Nowadays generation, they have got choices. I can take a break. I can do things. I can do grab, like what you just mentioned. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay, interesting.
Yeah,
We have a question from the audience
yeah.
from Ida. Okay, how do you see Gen Z redefining success in the workplace compared to previous generations?
Hmm. Give me a second. One one way the previous generation, I think we look at monetary as a success in a lot of ways,
mhm.
and positions as success. If I'm not gonna be happy until I become like a director in a company or something. Then okay, I reach my stage, and then and that works. I think even for Gen Zs, not to say that, but it's getting more and more that Gen Zs also want the position, but if they don't get the position, but they have the money, it's okay, because they're not so hard up on climbing up the ladder so much as the previous generation. I'm not saying they don't, they do want to. Even I met, so they're all ambitious, just as ambitious, but they're not, because they have seen their parents slog. One of the things I saw in the video, they have seen their parents slog and work really, really hard for 20, 30, 40 years to reach a position. And then like they say, oh, that's all you're getting. And then like right now, they know how to play the game better. And then like they still, I mean, I don't have to have the director title. I don't have to have all this C-suite title. But as long as I have I'm getting paid most of the time lah. So one time
Yeah,
is monetary reasons, but another thing is actually, like I mentioned earlier, is they get to do what they really love doing. I've seen so many people like they work in a corporate for after that they quit and then they become a fitness instructor. Like they seem happier. So sometimes time is time for themselves is also success, and happiness is success lah.
That is true, definitely. Time is money
yeah.
for them.
Okay.
It's an
Yeah,
entity. Mm. Ajit, next question.
I hope I answered well enough.
Of
Hmm.
course, giving us so much
Okay, good.
insight. Ajit, you okay? Your line a
Okay.
little bit up
Yes.
and down. Yeah, okay. Go on.
Yeah. Okay. Is this expected gaps between employers and young talent unaddressed? Because there are gaps, the younger generation and the employees,
Yeah.
they are more mature, more different generations. What do you think would be the long-term impact could be?
I think the business suffers in the end if they don't try to understand each other. Not just not just companies need to try to understand the Gen Zs, but Gen Z also need to understand the company's goals and roles and what they need to do also lah, because it's still running a business. But if there is a gap and nobody tries to understand each other, the business don't run. And when the business don't run properly, the company don't make money, the company cannot pay you, then like everybody suffers. And then when you force the young graduates to no, you have to come to work every day and all of that because we're not being productive enough. And then the Gen Zs will say, no, I cannot come. Why can I come? Why he can? Why I cannot? Then there's a gap lah. Because sometimes this one I got to say about the Gen Zs lah. Because sometimes when you see the senior people have a bit more flexibility, sometimes you compare. But you don't understand, this guy has been working for 15 years, 20 years and given so much for the company. While you just started, maybe you need to earn that trust first lah, before you start comparing why he can, why you cannot. Because in the end of the day, you need to also, you're working for the company. You need to give your time for the company, and the company also appreciates you. Not say they don't, they also appreciate you. And then that's where you try to find the middle line. And once you give, I always believe you get what you give.
Agreed.
Yeah. So for even now, I got to talk about the Gen Zs like you get what you give. So if you give so little and you get so little, then you complain. But then you expect the companies, this whole big organization, to layan you. Cannot. That's not really fair lah. Because they also have their bosses to answer to, and the bosses, they have their stakeholders to answer and shareholders to answer to. But you have to find that's why I think companies are doing so much to try to understand the Gen Zs or try to accommodate the Gen Zs. But the Gen Zs also need to try to understand the bigger picture of what the company is trying to achieve. Because if not, if you are the small one, they don't understand everybody, then the whole business will suffer because you are the biggest group that is working or coming into the workforce. So there need to be the main point is understanding each other. If not, everyone suffers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with understanding each other lah, because companies do look at ways to also appreciate the staff, even more nowadays than during, I think, my parents' time, because we value the work that everyone puts in. Yeah. So
Yeah.
actually, sorry, you have something to say?
Before COVID, right? Because my team, we always shoot a lot of videos for companies. So the most recent one, just before COVID, then I see all the companies showing off their Google type of office. We have a playroom, we have a makan here. You can eat as much food as you want. We have a sleeping room. You can go in and rest for a while. Then this is the funny part, right? I see there are so many things, right? And the office looks beautiful. Then suddenly COVID, right? Then people want to stay at home. After you spend all of that.
I know, so beautiful offices. In fact, I love going to clients'
Yeah.
offices now because a lot of them are green office with
got slide, all that.
zen room, yeah, and then the swimming pool. It was so nice. I love it. I mean, so much that we can enjoy in there. Alina has a very good question. Actually, she's got two very good questions. First one would be, what do you think needs to change in the workplace for traditional companies to retain more Gen Z staff?
What do you think needs to change in the workplace for regional companies to retain more Gen Z staff? Like I mentioned earlier, I think maybe there need to be more understanding between how you manage the Gen Z. Training, for example, is that because when I've gone to other conferences and I listen to grievances by companies like say companies want to hire but the Gen Zs are not ready, and then they complain about there is a unemployment, huge unemployment gap in Malaysia, but at the same time there is a brain drain. So a bit funny, right? So it's because companies want to pick the best, and there are many young good candidates that don't get looked in. Maybe they don't pass off the first impression. I'll do the online test and they don't pass off, but they can be trained.
Yeah.
So that's the gap I also see. So what needs to change in the workplace for traditional companies to retain more Gen Zs? I think the traditional companies need to have training in their companies so that they know how to attract the Gen Zs, to know what the Gen Zs are looking for. Because, okay, lah, all the big banks and all the big companies have money, and when they have money, they can do all sorts of advertising and all of that. Everybody wants to work for the big companies. But one thing that if you're a small workplace, you can say, okay, if you come to our place, you have certain things that we can give you. We can give you flexibility. You can work from anywhere. This kind of things. Those kind of things actually what attracts the Gen Z. Then it's something that you can compete with the big boys, because the big boys, right? You say, yeah, you can work like 3 days at work and 2 days work from home, but then right, they really monitor you like crazy. But we give you the trust. Your mouse, they have to check whether your mouse move or not and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, some they use that kind of software, some companies. So whether you're really working from home or not. So like,
That
but
is
we
like
give you
really
the trust.
checking.
Yeah, so like as long as you do your work, as long as the deadline is reached, what else I want from you? So certain things that what we look for in that the graduates wants, we can use that to our advantage, because as a small traditional company, we can make changes very fast. That the big boys cannot. They have to talk to this board, to that, to the it take forever. Right? 6 months down the road, they make the decision.
True.
Agree. I think that's
I did.
okay. I think correct. I think I totally agree with that. It's about providing what they need. Okay, let's take another question from our listener, Lina. Some managers tend to give feedback that Gen Z are not as resilient against stress as other staffs. How can they be better manage this?
To a certain point, I do agree lah that the Gen Zs are not as resilient because of how we were brought up also.
Yeah.
I was also looking at my nephew, my young, so I know he's Gen Alpha lah. If I time switch off the TV and go and shower, he doesn't listen to me. Then I have to say a few times, and then like I raise my voice, then he emo. Then I'm like, imagine same thing lah. If I tell the Gen Z, if I scold the Gen Z, then he takes it personally. Oh, this guy don't like me, or this guy I'm kena aim lah, I'm the victim, all that. Because but when we were at work last time, like when I work other places, I kena scolded every day. I already come thick skin already. I really doesn't matter. I just try to doesn't get better. I don't take it personally. So one of the reasons is because the Gen Zs are, when they grew up, right, everything has been easier for them. If I want to watch a movie last time, I have to go to the cinema, buy the ticket, go back home, and then go back to the cinema to when the movie starts. But now I can just book, okay, I'm going to go to the cinema now. So even like last time TV, I want to change channel, I have to go to the TV, change the channel, then I go back, sit down. So like if things is so convenient, everything is so instant, when things are not instant for them, they feel like something is wrong. And it's nobody's fault. It's nobody's fault. So maybe those things that you cannot get information, you cannot get what you want as fast, they get frustrated. And when they get frustrated, they think something is wrong. While we are used to we don't get things easily as fast as we
Yeah.
want. So you have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until we get what we want. So we are more trained into that psychologically. We know the first time we ask, we're not going to get. Usually when they ask the first time, or they usually get what they want. So that's why they are not as resilient, is because of the generation now, and things are where things are now. And how do we overcome that again, right? Same thing, if I use the same example of my nephew, is I have to talk to him nicely again and again and again and again. Because if I start shouting at him, he will close off already. So that's the way we manage younger people, whether it's in teaching them, whether you have to be there for them as someone that they can look up to as a mentor and always guide them. And I think once you get that trust from them, and so you can, once they trust you a bit more, you can tegur them, not scold, but tegur them.
Yeah.
They'll be more accepting. They'll be more accepting because as our job as the senior ones, we have to make them trust us or earn that trust from them. Once they 100% trust us, it's easier to tell them.
Yeah, I like the
But
word
to
you.
go on long story to answer one question.
But it is true. I mean, that long story is it equates to why it is like this now, because life is pretty easy right now. So even like you say, you use a nice word, you tegur, you cannot scold, because even kids in school, when they get scolded by the teacher, the parent go there and scold the teacher instead.
Yeah.
Unlike our time, it's like teacher scold, the parent double scold, or pukul
No,
some more.
our time, if the scold the parents say, good, scold him some more.
Kena double, triple. Then you keep quiet. Kena marah ni. Better keep quiet. Otherwise, nanti kena marah 3-4 kali lagi. So yeah, I mean, they've got it a little bit easier than us, which is not bad, not good. It's just how we work together, lah. So that brings me
Yeah.
to my third question, which do technology and the pandemic actually play a role in this whole gap? Can you explain how these factors shaped Gen Z's view of the workplace, especially when it comes to hybrid and remote work?
Don't even count starting at work lah. The pandemic, right? After everything goes online, even they go to university, classes are also online.
Mm,
So they are already so used to it. And then the question will be, if I can do it at home and do it online, why should I come to work? If I do it alone, why should I come to school? Then they start to question everything that way already. So definitely the technology and the pandemic has caused in. We have that technology for a long time through
yeah.
Skype and maybe other softwares, but the companies were not so against. Yeah, they want to see everybody come to work because I don't know what uh, survey people have done and say actually if you work from home you'll be more productive. I can honestly tell you, if you come to work you'll be more productive. They'll be more productive lah. So, but there are surveys that say that you come now. They say if you come work for 4 days, you'll be more productive. I don't know which country, but at least in Malaysia, the productivity is you're in the office because your mind is already in the office. If I'm at home, I cannot concentrate. I cannot do my work. I mean, it works for different, but I think most, if you come to work, you'll be more productive. But coming back again to the question, because of the pandemic, then the companies have no choice and they give in. They give in that okay, you have no other choice. You have to work from home. Then we will create the cloud softwares and we create like Microsoft Teams and everybody have to learn how to work remotely, but which is actually very good for the company. It's actually a very good thing for the company. Now the company start to broaden the horizon and understand the young people or and in fact everybody. Now if I work every 9 to 5, I want to go to the bank. I cannot go to the bank. And in Malaysia, I need to go to the bank or I have to spend the whole day at the bank, wait for number, everything. It's really difficult now. But because now that we are forced to have that kind of flexibility, we have grown. This is the standard already. You need to give me that kind of flexibility already, even post pandemic, because now that you have given us, we have already tested it, and this gives us flexibility and give us able to perform our tasks. Then what is the issue here? Then the argument of not the argument of you can't, it's not, that's impossible to do, it's already been broken already. So there's no more argument that you cannot come to the office. That has really changed the whole way of people working. Of course, future of work.
Mm, yeah. Actually, for me, I notice there are two extreme groups of people for work from home. The one extreme is they take it easy, take it very flexible, because that happened to me before when I first started working from home many years ago. It was not during pandemic, it was way before pandemic. I
Yeah.
tried, I had issues in health, so I was working from home. I took it a bit easy and I screwed up one time. That one time was a big mistake and it never happened again. And then it went to the other extreme where I started work very early and finished work very late. There was never a time, there was
Uh,
never a gap. So it can go to two different extremes. But in a way, I find working from home could be a benefit also, because you actually take away that traffic jam that you sit in to get to office. I
mm,
think how many audience actually agree with me. But if you actually calculate that number of hours sitting in the jam, going and coming back from the office, it actually equates
yeah.
to approximately 1 month of the year, which is which becomes valuable time where you can translate into productive work.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so whether you work 8:30 to 5:30 or 8 to 6, because of the extra time you don't spend in time, you can actually do a lot more and clear a lot more of your work instead of carrying forward. So yeah, there are two extremes in working the work from home thing. Yeah, I
It
mean,
really depends on the person. Yeah. Because
yeah,
I know I cannot work from home.
ah,
I
you're
get I
right.
get lazy. Yeah. I need to be in the office. I see everybody. Then I also feel like I want to see people. But
Actually, that's the nicest part. You get your colleagues, you get to go makan-makan together, you get to chit chat, you get that break. So
uh,
the short breaks are very, very important. When you're working alone, you're like, can continue quite long also
yeah,
lah.
because definitely 9 to 6, when I'm not working 8 hours continuously the whole time. Also,
Yeah, it's true. True. All right.
Interesting. Okay, I have a question from the audience. Ida, it's if you could give one piece of advice to business leaders trying to engage Gen Z better, what would it be?
Mm.
what would it be? I say do something that they like, or organize something like that. Organize pickleball and play with them. Then when
Okay.
you are in the same team and then you laugh and joke and play sports together, I mean break down the hierarchy lah. Break down the hierarchy, and then when you're doing activities together, I think they know you as a person and you know them as a person. Uh, I think the communication will be better. I think maybe big organization there is always that hierarchy, right? So that the communication isn't there. That's why there is a bit of a breakdown when it
Mm.
comes to not understanding each other.
Yeah, that's very
Maybe, but yeah, let's do something like fun activities together. So that's
yeah.
why pickleball is so popular right now.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can't
Yeah,
even get a booking, I'm maybe 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
everyone is a ball. Yeah. So there, Ida, I hope that helps. That answers the question. Do activities together. And then Ida says, I wonder what kind of learning and development opportunities are Gen Z most interested in?
Oh wow, what?
That's a tough one. I would say more micro learning, on the go learning.
Yeah. Big
That's
size learning.
for my that's my
That's
take.
true.
Mm. Do you
Yeah, that's
agree?
yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah. All
I
right.
do agree. That all these short online courses are very popular now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quick learning, quick way of learning. All right. Before we
Okay.
move on to our
Uh,
next question,
I like the
right?
session.
Right?
Okay, sorry, I did.
I
You
like
were
the
saying
session today. Yeah, there's many questions, Ashwin. They're getting very good
Oh
questions, very good
wow.
response from the
Okay.
audience today. Interesting.
Oh
yeah.
wow.
Nice.
That's why. That's why. But I'm going to
Yes.
also ask before we move on to the next question, Ajit, which is will be your question to us. Um, let's hear more audiences asking more questions because we're loving it. Bring in more questions. Yeah. So
Yes.
Ajit, you go for
Yes,
the
please.
next question.
Okay. Nabil, hope you're still okay to take more questions. Huh?
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're flying him
I
lah
I
today.
I try my best. I try my best.
We
Okay.
going him today with more questions.
Going. Yes. Many companies are going back to 100% back office-based work. Does this does this create an even wide division between the young talent, within the younger talent?
Yeah, coming back to work 100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now most companies are going back to work. I know they don't like it, but sometimes they have no choice also, because if it really depends on if they really want to work for this company. If I really want to work for like Maybank, and then I have to be, then I have no choice. I have to accept it, because they also think about they also have to think about the opportunities that they are missing out. You know, so it not to say that it's so huge about creating a huge uh, division about it, but little bit. But sometimes it also builds into the the strength of the branding of the company, because right, if I have to come to work every day
Mm.
and work hard, like really hard, but I get to work for the company that I really want, I know there's a sacrifice. And I think Gen Zs understand that. Uh, the ones that is the most difficult people, getting the best people and getting the ones that is actually SMEs, because everybody wants to work for the big companies. Then the big companies can pick and choose and everyone else, and then like the SMEs have a difficult time, and when you don't give little bit of uh, flexibility, and then break down. Sorry, am I being too? I scared of being too candid over now.
No, it's good, good,
Yeah,
good.
but because they can tahan more if it comes down from big company, Petronas
Yeah.
say come to work every day, work from 9 to 12 every day. Okay, get no problem. But if a small company and say I need you to work this much, and then you asking me to work on this, flexibility is an issue, mental health is an issue. But if it's a big company, it's not an issue.
Hmm.
Am I
Everything
being
can,
sorry?
yes. Okay,
Yeah,
following up
because
to
it's
that,
really,
flexi work arrangements or flexi working hours.
yeah.
I think his
Sorry,
line is
okay.
not.
Talking about flexi work, can you hear me? Should you know better?
Yeah, yeah. Clear now. Clear now.
Flexi work hours
Yeah,
is not a new thing. Do you believe that nowadays flexibility should be a standard offering, or it's still a privilege for all SMEs or big companies?
I feel that flexibility should be not say a privilege lah. Because it really depends on the job role. Some job roles needs you to be there.
Mm.
So I think there need to be an understanding that my job, what I have to do, I need to be in the office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
depending on job.
it really depends on the job, and I think what is missing out here is the gap is that the Gen Z needs to understand the requirements of their job.
Mm.
Yeah, that they're asking for, so or that they are applying for. But if it's a job that can be done with the flexibility, then yeah, it should be given.
Mm.
So it's not privilege. It should be given depending on the job role, and
Yeah,
and I think those applying then need to understand your requirements of the job and what the job entails.
Mm. Agree. Totally agree. Um, let's talk a little bit about stereotype, Nabil.
Yeah,
Gen Z is often, as I hear label, which I don't quite agree sometimes, labeled as easily distracted or overly opinionated. From your experience, are these fair assumptions, and how do their work ethics compare to the fresh graduates from about 10 years ago?
um, definitely more. They speak up more.
Mm,
They definitely speak up more. Uh, but to call them what lazy and all that, no lah. I
mm,
wouldn't say lazy, because like they are like again like they are used to having things. I want to change the channel, I just click on the button. Then when you see someone like walking to the TV, change the channel and walking up and down, they will say, why are you doing that when you can just do it? So it helps in the process. so so that's not lazy, that's smart. So they will think of the best way to do it and the most efficient way to do something.
Shortcut,
Yeah, they will think of shortcut. But
innovative.
the gap again, right? Because we have the experience, we know the shortcuts, and the reason why we don't do the shortcuts because if we do a shortcut, something wrong will be happen. But they don't know, so they think the shortcut is the best way to do it. But because people with experience know that if you can think of that, I also could think of that, right? So like, just because you're Gen Z doesn't make you have more experience than me. Of course, I know that, but I know through my experience, if I take a shortcut, the problem will come up later on.
Mm.
That's why Gen Z say, "Oh, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that?" Because they don't understand yet. Because one of the things, although they're opinionated, but they do not have the experience, so their opinions are based on the little experience that they have. But
Mm.
I'm not saying they're not. So they are trying to find the best way to do it, but maybe because they do not have all the experience of the job and everything,
Mm-hmm.
they may not have, they may not understand properly. But they voice out the opinions more. But they are definitely not lazy. They're trying to find the best way of doing things. But when it comes to work ethics, then and now, again, it all goes back to the values and what they believe in. So if you believe in what you're doing and you believe, then you will work for it,
Mm.
work harder for it. I think maybe our generation or generation before, we understand that for us to reach a certain level, we need to put in the hours, we need to be there all the time. Sometimes it's also not a very good thing that Saturday, Sunday, when we don't have breaks, our bosses can call you at any time and all of that. That at least for the Gen Zs, at least they know, uh, okay, this time I work, but I need my own time. There's a separation of work and home. But maybe our time we are guilty of it, that we don't separate it, and which is our fault also lah. So it helps us to be better, at least with the Gen Z, the way they view work life. So it's not about laziness or not they want to work. It's more of they know when to work and when to separate. Maybe we don't know, and we think it's a badge of honor that we work so many
Business.
hours. Yeah. It's a badge of honor, but it's actually not really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mm.
I hope that's a satisfactory answer.
of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, we have another question from the audience, Ida. Then, how can companies create growth paths that keeps Gen Z motivated and loyal without fast tracking everything?
Um, I used to do a survey. I mean, sometimes I still do a survey, right? And we talk about what makes a Gen Z or young people choose a company. One of the reasons are it's a career path. A, a career path is one of the top reasons, and money is number three, which is very strange because every time I see who's your top companies, they always choose all the oil and gas and the banks. They want to pay the most. But that one, okay, that one separate issue. But what I see myself that from their answers that they gave, and I try to understand it better, is that when we hire a young talent into a company, we have to show them the career path that they will be going to if they do well. So based on if you work hard and after 2 or 3 years, this is your next stage, and then this is your next stage. You can, but they also have to understand just because you're in a company for a long time, if you don't produce and you don't perform, doesn't mean naturally just because you stayed for 2 or 3 years, you go higher and higher. Sometimes people have to take advantage of that. I've been here for 5 years, I'm only a manager. There's a reason for it. Or I've been here for 10 years, I only a certain, because other people are performing better than you. So it's not the number of years, but it's also the number of years and also your performance. and the value that you bring into the company. And
Agree.
but one of the most important things you have to show any graduate or anyone that you hire, if we do well, and these are all our KPIs, and if you do all of this, these are the next stage and the next stage and the next stage, then they can see that these are the reasons why I want to stay in this company, because I know if I jump, I may not get the opportunity outside, or if I jump outside, I may backfire. I'd be stuck down there or something. Because the problem is, I also noticed that a lot of young graduates, after they work 1 or 2 years, they they can always find another company that will pay higher. Then they jump, and then they jump,
Yeah.
and then they jump, and they jump. You know what happens on that? They may get the money after a few times they jump, but then the problem is, right, they're going to be stuck on there when they realize you have not substance to give you this kind of salary, because you don't have the experience, you don't have,
Agree.
you've not done enough. It will come from, people are going to find out later on that you do not have the experience to demand this kind of salary, and then you're going to be stuck there, or maybe go down later on.
Agreed. You're right. Well
because
said.
because if someone, you can jump and take over someone's job who's been there longer, someone else that can jump over your job later on also. If it's that
True.
easy for you to take over someone, it'll be the same easier. Also, it's going to be just as easy for someone else to take over your job later on also, and you're going to be stuck there forever.
Okay, good. I like that. Okay, we are coming to a close very soon. We need to maybe the last
So
question,
fast,
Nabil. Yeah, so soon. Time
it
flies.
just flew, flew, yeah.
Yeah. Can you share some strategies where leaders can bridge the gaps without compromising their company's core value?
Oh, yeah. I need to know a bit more in detail. First of all,
Mm.
we need to we need to make sure our core values is ingrained with everybody. So like
Yeah.
that. I mean, like I there's a lot of these awards that's going on, right?
Mm.
A lot of companies giving out awards as the best employer and all that these things. I never like doing this, but sometimes I have to do it because the companies want a lot of this
Mm-hmm.
one. So like one thing, right, is that I don't want my staff to go to these companies and say, I pay you to win an award. I don't like that, because a lot of this is tied to sponsorships. So I
Yeah.
never like that. So how it works is that we as the bosses have to be look at what we do and what we earn and how our values, and then everyone else will follow
Mm.
that our values are straight. I think it can be clearly seen that, if I don't uh, one of the example I say is awards. If I don't pay for awards, and I do, and I people will recognize me for the work I've done, and then that's when I get invited for awards. But it could be awards or getting big projects outside that I don't have to go out for a meeting and then talk on the side to the guy who makes the decision, calling for Tay, and then like try to settle everything. But all these are part of values of a company that, we get name, we get businesses. But I think how it works is the leader needs to have that kind of integrity. And when the leaders have the entire integrity, is like if someone offers them things and then they say, I don't need anything from you, I just want to do my work. That will follow through the whole organization. I have seen a lot of companies that I look at the leader, and they are like so good, so nice, and that it just trickles down to everybody that reports to her, that everyone in her team is just like her.
Mm.
Yeah, so I've seen that. So I think lead by example.
Yeah.
One of the things is by leading by example. Then when you lead by example, people will see and people will respect you. And when people respect you, they will follow you, and
Yeah, they follow you.
yeah,
Correct. You're right. You're right.
yeah, yeah, follow your values also.
Agree. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
That's great. Wow, I think your iPad also said, okay, time's up.
Battery dying.
That's my idea. Well, I'm surprised we're actually approached the end of the session for today. It is 2 o'clock, and like you say, Nabil, it doesn't feel like the 1 hour has
Yeah.
passed like that.
Yeah.
Nabil, we would really like to thank you for such an insightful session, and most important, this serious discussion today. Before
Yeah.
we end, are there any ways that our audiences can reach out to you should they have any further questions?
Ken, I mean, you can find me on LinkedIn for one.
Okay,
I just search for Nabil Marie from GRADUAN, or
awesome.
uh, or just email me. I'm at nabil@graduan.com. Very easy.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I see that my team, back end team, has put your LinkedIn link
Oh,
on,
okay, okay.
yeah, on the ticker below. So make sure you guys join
Yeah.
Nabil. And I like to let you all know that it's a wrap for today's episode. And once again, we thank you so much for joining us, Nabil. We hope you enjoyed, all of you enjoyed and learned a lot from today's session. But you know what? Don't go too far away though. We've got more goodness coming your way in the next episode. So until then, stay tuned and we'll catch up with you later. Selamat Hari Raya and
Selamat Hari
join
Raya.
us in our next session till we meet you soon. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.